Time.
Good evening, and thank you for attending the regular meeting of the North Platte Board of Education. I would like to remind you that school board meetings in Nebraska are meetings held in public, not public meetings. During the public comment section, the public may address the board on agenda items and other miscellaneous topics. The purpose and direction of North Platte Public Schools is to prepare all students to be productive, responsible citizens in a safe, caring, supportive learning environment. Our direction is to prepare every student for success through high-quality educational programs delivered by highly effective educators who use innovative, research-based strategies in a safe, supportive environment in collaboration with family, businesses, and community members. Sheila, could you call roll, please?
Matthew Peterson.
Present.
Emily Garrick.
Present.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Present.
Cindy O'Connor. Present. Skip Altick.
Present.
Angela Blasey.
Present.
I would like to remind everyone that the Nebraska Open Meetings Act legislates the methods by which public meetings are conducted in Nebraska. Information pertaining to this act is posted in the boardroom. I would now would like to entertain a motion to approve the publication of the May 13th, 2024 regular meeting of the board.
Would move to approve the publication of the May 13th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Education.
Second.
Emily Garrick.
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor. Aye. Skip Altick.
Aye.
Angela Blasey.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
That passes. And now I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda for the May 13th, 2024 regular meeting of the board.
I move to approve the agenda for the May 13th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
I second.
Roll call.
Joanne Lynn Green.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor. Aye. Skip Altick.
Aye.
Angela Blasey.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrick.
Aye.
And that passes. I would now invite everyone to join us in standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we begin our communications portion of the agenda, I just wanted to let the board know that I have still not heard back from the School Board Association on our suggested goals from our self assessment. And I'm hoping that we'll have that information by our committee of the whole at the end of the month. Okay, so now we will move on to our special presentation. We have Bulldogs of the Month, Noah Henderson and Shelby Steele. And then we also have our Bulldog that was not able to report to us last month, Clancy Brown. So Mr. Spatansky will have you do the introductions.
So it's always a pleasure to introduce the Bulldogs of the Month. Last month, we were unable to honor Clancy as she was out with some activities. We have two other awesome students that are here to present tonight as well. So we'll start off with Clancy, we'll have Shelby, and then we'll finish with Noah.
Hi, my name is Clancy Brown, and I am here with my mom, Jan Brown. Throughout high school, I participated in 4 years of varsity basketball and varsity soccer, along with National Honor Society, Key Club, and student council for 2 years. My favorite high school experiences were when I played in the state tournament when I was a freshman in soccer and in basketball. And also along when I was a sophomore, we beat Kearney in basketball, which was probably my favorite basketball moment. And then after high school, I'm going to Morningside University to play basketball and study biology in the pre-professional, going into like exercise science, physical therapy. Hi, I'm Shelby Steele. I'm here with my parents, Mike and Colleen Steele here tonight. Little bit about me. I have been part of the cross-country team, Skills USA, FCCLA, and National Honor Society. I have also been on honor roll these past 4 years and graduated with my associates this past Friday from Mid-Plains Community College. My favorite experiences from high school is probably going to Skills USA State with my friends and my OCC team, along with competing at FCCLA State. After graduation, which was last week, I plan to attend UNK in the fall for communication disorders, which will later turn into speech language pathology. Thank you.
I'm Noah Henderson. That's my great aunt Gas. That's my Nana. That's my aunt Kate and my sister Asia. The activities I've been involved in through my high school career were track, basketball, orchestra, student council, National Honor Society, and kids club. And I think my favorite high school experience was going to Grand Island over the summer with Coach Pack and dislocating my shoulder. And it was just me and Pack in the hospital. And I think it was a pretty fun time. And my plans after graduation is I'm gonna be attending University of Nebraska at Lincoln and major in finance.
You would just come up for your award.
Which the moment I get there, so. Thank you. She doesn't say hi to me. She said, "You're there." Thank you.
Now we'll have Terry Burchell come, and she has a foundation report as well as staff recognitions.
Good evening. Hopefully all of those of you that are mothers had a happy Mother's Day. Scholarships are out and we're excited in our office that we got those out. Next year, we're looking forward to being online for that process. So stay tuned for that update. Pay Green to Wear Blue has launched. Can't Stop Believing is the shirt theme this year, thanks to Brandon Peterson. So we're excited. We actually took that out for vote across the district and that came back with rave reviews. So we're excited to get that launched. If you would like a t-shirt, feel free to sign up. Reminder that the foundation's major fundraising is that last weekend in July, Friday the 26th, is the Evening of Excellence with our speakeasy theme, our 30-year celebration. We're also changing the Class Act Scholarship to the Gordon Peaks Class Act Scholarship in his honor. So we'll be celebrating him. His daughter plans to be in attendance as well. And then, of course, we'll get up on Saturday morning and do the Bulldog Golf Classic with the Booster Club. So we're excited for that. Both of those event tickets or registration is open. So feel free to go to our website and find both of those events there. Also until noon tomorrow, we're taking nominations for Teachers and Employee of the Year. So anyone who received a building nomination and awarded in their building Teacher of the Year had moved up to the district. Cabinet and myself were involved in taking them to that district level, and then we recognized them. And now those have moved forward to Teacher or Employee of the Year. Except for Rookie of the Year, all of the rookies are out there to be nominated, and we've gotten several already for that. So please feel free to click on that link and nominate those that you may know. And of course, the highlight tonight is we're always excited to showcase the district employees. This past month was with Prairie Friends and Flowers, and NPEA was our sponsor, which worked out perfectly because we actually recognized a couple of certified employees. First one I'll have stand is Miss Karen Oakes. Ms. Larson's not able to be here, but her nomination was her dedication to the health and well-being of the students and staff at Lincoln Elementary. Nurse Karen sees an average of more students than any other building. Her professionalism in maintaining a safe, welcoming environment is commendable. She is a team player in helping problem solve health challenges that may impede the success of a student. She comes to work every day with a smile and greets and treats students with dignity and respect. Ms. Karen Oakes. And then next, I'd like to invite Ms. Pierre to talk about our next person.
So NPHS nominated Mr. Kyle Milton this year for Teacher of the Month. And Mr. Milton's been a high leverage math teacher for several years. He's also been doing some innovative things with the ACT on his own for that duration as well. But this year, as part of our teacher advisory committee, he brought up some incentive ideas to our group that we were able to flush out. And what we're seeing as a result of his courage and his solution to that process is a lot of growth in that particular test. So I want to just honor Mr. Milton and all he's done as a math teacher, but also his contributions to our teacher advisory group and moving our ACT scores forward with our incentive program. So.
All right, and now we will have our student spotlight. We have students with our Future Farmers of America, FFA, that are going to be reporting to us tonight.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Lane Heil, and I am a current junior at North Platte High School and was just elected as our FFA chapter president for the 24 through 25 school year.
My name is Brooklyn Stahl, and I'm also a current junior at North Platte High School, and I was just elected to serve as our chapter secretary for the 24-25 school year.
And my name is Neva Fisher, and I am currently a freshman at North Platte High School, and I was elected to serve as our chapter sentinel for the 2024-2025 school year.
The three of us are here tonight to tell you a little about what our FFA chapter has been up to this year. For those of you who don't know, our chapter was founded in 2018 with 25 members, and now in our 6th year, we currently have nearly 80 members.
We kicked off our school year attending Husker Harvest Days in Grand Island as a chapter where we were able to network with numerous agribusinesses and vendors. We also created a float for the homecoming parade. At the end of October, 11 of our members had the opportunity to travel to the national convention in Indianapolis. While there, we networked with ag colleges across the nation, learned about new technology in the ag industry, and even had the chance to watch horse races at Churchill Downs.
Also in October, some of our members attended a livestock judging clinic in Valentine, as well as competed in the district level livestock judging contest at NCTA at districts. Our senior livestock judging team placed 4th and qualified to compete at state in April. In November, we held our 5th annual corn drive. The corn drive is one of our largest fundraisers of the year. We call local farmers in our area and ask if they would be willing to donate corn to our chapter. We then take a semi and trailer to meet the farmers in their field while they are harvesting to collect the grain. We then sell the corn collected at Ag Valley Co-op. This year, we collected over 2,000 bushels. Mr. Sweetberg's ag business class then had a chance to market the grain and help the chapter raise over $9,000.
January brought our district LDE contest where we had members compete in employment skills, senior public speaking, parliamentary procedure, and creed speaking. One of our senior members, Zara Prieto, also completed her state degree interview and was the second of our chapter to earn her state degree at state convention in the beginning of April.
In February, a large number of our members competed in 13 different district career development event contests. Out of those 13 teams, 8 of them qualified to compete at the state convention in April. Those teams that qualified were marketing plan, welding, floriculture, agriscience, meats evaluation, natural resources, ag mechanics, and nursery and landscape. Our nursery and landscape team of myself, Ashley Erickson, Hannah Jensen, and Jada Hothen were the top 4 individuals and district champion team.
As if February wasn't busy enough for us, we also hosted our annual Feed the Farmer banquet and fundraiser. This was developed as a SAE experience project by one of our former members, my sister, Ellie Fisher, and has developed in our largest and most successful fundraiser of the year. This event has raised over $100,000 since its inception in 2018, and we are hoping to use the funds towards the future greenhouse and agriculture facility at the high school.
The month of March was primarily spent on morning contest practices in preparation for state convention. However, some of our members did have the chance to go to the Acres Expo in Grand Island. We were able to see some of John Deere's newest technology and equipment, as well as learn about their diesel tech program. Some of us even had the opportunity to operate their harvest simulator.
At state convention in April, we were able to see many successes from our chapter members. To name a few, Zara Prieto earned her state degree. Jake Henry was an individual state runner-up for OA welding. Lane placed 6th in shielded metal arc welding, and 2 of our 4 nursery and landscape members placed in the top 10, with our team placing 5th in the state level.
At the end of April, we were able to hold our annual awards night and celebrate the accomplishments of our chapter for the year. We announced our new officer team and gave out outstanding membership scholarships and shed a few tears over losing our seniors. Finally, we spent a couple of days with preschoolers and elementary students planting flowers, learning all about sorts of animals, and taking them with tractor safety.
Unlike sports or other activities in school, FFA has no season. Instead, it feels like we are in season all year, and the summer is no exception. Our summer months are usually focused on our supervised agricultural experience or SAE projects. Very similar to our school's internship program with Mrs. Foster, a majority of our FFA members will spend their summer months putting to use the information they have learned in their ag classes and hopefully earning some money along the way. I myself will be working at Platte Valley Electric and selling metal artwork I forged and welded, but you will also likely find our classmates working in greenhouses, vet clinics, retail stores, and others raising their own charge of cattle, chickens, and even one potential beekeeper in the mix. So next time you are needing some beef for your freezer, flowers for your garden, or a metal lawn ornament, don't look too far because I'm sure there's an FFA member that can help you out. Thank you.
Can we ask you a couple questions? Okay. So if you had to pick what your favorite experience was of the whole year, what would each of you say?
My personal favorite experience is being able to go to state convention. The competitions are a lot of fun because there's a ton of competition and just tons of kids there, and you get to meet kids from all across the state. So that's probably my favorite experience of the year.
I definitely agree, but I really did enjoy going to national convention this year because it helped our nursery and landscape team set the goal of wanting to place first at the state level so we compete at nationals.
Probably just because I am a freshman and just like the whole new experience was my favorite, but being the only Creed speaker this year at the LDE competition was probably a good experience because it helped me out with my leadership skills.
Do any of you have any ambitions to go into the fields that I know, so nursery and landscape, and then you're doing some things with welding.
Yes, ma'am.
So is that what you're hoping to do in the future, or what are your future plans right now?
As of now, my plan is to be an electrician. So I'm currently, during the summer, I work for my dad at Platte Valley Electric, and I plan to continue to do that after I graduate.
I'd hope to go into something in the ag industry, whether it's be like an ag teacher, maybe minor in biology with plants or something with horticulture. But we were able to visit their greenhouses last year at state convention. So that was definitely something that I have to think about with their campus there.
Yeah. Yeah. As of now, I couldn't really tell you what I want to do, but more like as being in the FFA and like as I have more experience, just seeing the way everything works has definitely intrigued me more than it used to, and that's potential for my career.
Does anybody else have questions?
So what do you guys think is the reason for, you went from 25 to 80, or most of the students wanting to pursue something in agriculture? Is this something that they see people are having a lot of fun and it's a way to learn new experiences? Do you have any idea why people are joining?
I think it's probably a mixture of both. A lot of it has to do, we have two really amazing advisors, Mrs. Craig and Mr. Sweetberg. And they do a really good job getting students involved, and just, it's hard to reach the school and show them really what all FFA is, because from the outside looking in, it's kind of known as, oh, it's just farming, or it's just that, but there's so much more to it once you really get into it. And it's just a really good experience.
Great. I think Mr. Sweetberg just gave you some bonus points in the back there. Good answer. I think it's great that, we went obviously so long without a program, so I'm excited to see not only have a program, but that it's popular and expanding. So yeah, keep up the good work.
Do you
Thank you,
guys have any idea when you're looking to build the greenhouse, or what?
Dr.
Well, we look forward to hearing more about that, and just are really excited for the things that you guys are doing and that you're getting to do, and really appreciate you coming to visit with us
Well,
tonight.
thank you guys for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have the consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure, Robert's rules, provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member. I will now entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
And just for a note, it was Skip and Emily, I believe, that did the financial claims and reports this month. Okay, roll call, Sheila.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Skip Altick.
Aye.
Angela Blazy.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Joanne Green.
Aye. All right. We will now invite Officer Johnson, and is Officer Bolander here with you? Okay, she wasn't able to make it. Officer Johnson, and he is going to talk to us about the North Platte Air Program.
Good evening. Officer Bowler was gonna be here. She was ill today, so it's now my duties. I'll see if I can do a good job as what she was gonna do. So I've been asked here to come tonight, just a little bit of our DARE program, what it is, a little update with that and how we instill it throughout the district and the success that we're seeing with it. So I know many people in this room may have they attended DARE back in their day. DARE has gone a lot of ways away from just substance abuse and saying no. It's a lot about decision making, choices, thinking about how do you make the right decisions. So we go around the schools and we teach 10 lessons to each class. We teach a lesson a week. Those lessons range from anything from like risk and consequences, peer pressure, dealing with stressful situations, and not only that, resistance strategies. So, we're firm believers, and this is an evidence-based curriculum that we do give to the children, and we do see the results in that. If they plan ahead that they may be put in certain situations, if they already have a decision made, or if they have an excuse made or a reason made, the chances of them using a substance or being placed into a situation that might be harmful reduces. It doesn't always fix the issues because there's a lot of peer pressure involved with that, but our lessons go along with that. A lot of it is about communication, how we communicate with others through verbal and nonverbal communication. We speak about bullying quite a bit. Every week we do a scenario for the students and they're given a pamphlet. And those scenarios, they have to make some of these decisions on their own. And we call it the DARE decision-making model. And within that model is define, assess, respond, and evaluate. And for these students to graduate our program, not only do they have to instill within that core program, but they have to show that they have this process and that they learn this process, and it's important to us. So what we do is we give them a scenario, and the first thing they do independently is they define. And so what they're taught is find the problem, challenge, or opportunity. What's at you? What's in front of your face? What do you have? The second thing we ask them to do is assess. What are your choices? Good and bad choices. We have to acknowledge what bad choices are, and we also have to acknowledge what the good choices are. Then we go into respond, and they make the choice they feel is best for them in that scenario that we give them. And then the last thing that they do is evaluate. Again, if we don't look back at the choices that we're making, whether there are positive consequences or negative consequences, we're just encouraging that, looking back and reflecting on some of those thought process in that. So they have to give a reason, and they have to state why they made a good choice or why they made a bad choice, like that. So this year, all the public schools went through it. We also taught, just for your school board to know, we taught St. Pat's, which is McDade, Our Redeemer, and Maxwell. We had a total of 317 graduates this year. We held DARE Day at the Rec Center. It was this last Friday on May 3rd, the Friday before that. The DARE Day is something, it's amazing. And I do encourage, send invites to the board next year, but just to stop by. It is the atmosphere. The kids have a lot of fun. We bring the high school cheerleaders down to get them kick-started and get them up like that. And the cheerleaders run some of their groups for us, but they go station to station, the schools and the kids. And some years we'll have helicopter there. This year we had the State Patrol SWAT team, the K9 handler, which I told the kids if they were good at the end, they could see the dog bite me, which I held up to my bargain. I think Dr. Rhodes may have been there. Were you there about that time? Yeah. So, but they go to station to station. Nebraska Game and Parks, they do a presentation on boater safety and lake safety as we're going into the summer. Fire department's there, and they have games and let the kids shoot their fire hoses. So it's a really good event. We had our agency brought our drone and a TV and flew the drone around and show them the capabilities of the drone, and the kids really love that. It's a great time. But it was a success this year. We did have our essay winner this year was a McDade student. And I actually had to go back in the books to see when the last time it wasn't NPPS student, and I couldn't find it. So it's been a while for that. With that, I guess, are there any questions about the DARE program or as we move through the years educating these kids with that DARE curriculum?
So is Officer Bolander the only one that teaches the DARE classes or?
So she's not. All SROs are certified to teach the classes. Officer Bolander was the primary DARE officer this year. I scheduled her for most of those lessons. Officer Little mainly did some of the non-public schools. And I did teach a class. I have to teach a class to keep my certification. So I had Cody this year. So yeah, it's all three of us, but it was mainly on Officer Bolander this year. And she did an amazing job. This was her first year at it.
Not directly related to DARE, but I've heard a number of praises for adding Officer Bolander to the class or to the schools this year. So I'm just really appreciative of the relationship we have with the police department, and please pass along our thanks to her for joining us. I know it's been helpful in the schools to have her, and for you able to spread out and kind of focus on what you
It's
need to focus on as well.
yes, it's made our work easier. So and I'd take any questions for DARE, but I do have a little announcement for the board as far as when we talk about SROs. So I guess, are there any other questions for DARE? So just a little bit, I just wanted to brief the board. Our office recently went through our promotional process. So Officer Little and Officer Bolander entered that promotional process to hopefully being promoted to the rank of investigator. So Officer Bolander did get promoted. So Sunday was her official day as Investigator Bolander now. Officer Little decided he wants to go back to the road and work on the road under the patrol division. So we're going to be bringing on a new SRO for next year. It's going to be Officer Rob Folks. We come back in the fall. I'd love to introduce him to you guys. In addition to that, one thing that was scared to me, obviously being in charge of the division, is I was potentially going to lose Investigator Bolander. She's going to go back in the summer for the Criminal Investigations Division. And I found out this morning that we're going to bring her back for next school year. So she will be, it'll be myself, Investigator Bolander, and Officer Folks for next year.
Well, we're glad that she's going to be with us next year. So like Matt, I've heard a lot of good things, and we really do appreciate all of the work that all three of the SROs do for the school district. And so we look forward to meeting the new officer and wish Officer Little well, and anytime he wants to come back. So
next time you make an announcement like that, please preface it with that you're not going anywhere. I just thought so.
Well, I was really hoping I had official answer before this. So thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and now we'll invite Mrs. Sheets, and she has some others with her, I believe, and so we'll have an EL report.
Sorry, I love my links. Good evening. My name is Kelly Sheets, and I'm here to present about the English Learner Program for North Platte Public School District. This is my team.
Hi, I am Mariela Alejandre, EL teacher.
Hi, I'm Sarah Thomas, and I'm also an EL teacher. And I'm Lanaya Alexander, and I am an EL paraprofessional.
So some of the rest of our team couldn't be here tonight. These are the three teachers that take on the role of K-12 educators for all of the EL in the district.
you can see the breakdown on the screen, but Sarah primarily does our little bitties, and she is a saint for working with those wonderful, energetic kindergartners. And then she also takes Madison. Mariella does first, second, and then Adams. And then I do third, fourth, fifth, and 9th through 12th. And then I also do the coordinator role. We are also blessed with the most amazing paras in the district. Lanaya is actually doing the teach program so that she can eventually join our team, hopefully. And then the other 3 are split between several different buildings that couldn't be here tonight: Andrew, Maria, and Angelica.
Yes, that's me. Yeah. So as of right now, we have 19 languages in the district. Our biggest one, of course, is Spanish. But as you can see, we have lost 2 since last year, and that was Korean. And well, I can't remember. It was a lot of, yeah, but 19. That's a lot of languages in this kind of district that we have. Yeah.
I'm just going to talk a little bit about our student enrollment. So we have 2 types of students. The active students are students that we typically serve every day. And they are students who are current in the program, receive daily services. And then a lot of them will also receive some kind of additional support in the regular classroom. And then we also have monitor students. So when a student deems proficient on the ELPA test, they're not in EL anymore, but we still monitor to make sure that their grades are doing okay, that they're not needing additional support. And so if you look at our chart, our numbers over the past several years have grown. This year we had a drastic jump. So we started our year last year was 78, and this year we're actually at 108. That changed last week. So our numbers have jumped a lot. We're at 108 active, and then our 39 monitor students. So big group. And then we currently have, that actually updated today as well, 27 new potential EL students that are registered pre-K through 12 next year. These are students who marked, their families marked a language other than English on the home language survey. So we know that there's a potential for more growth at the beginning of the year. This is just a breakdown of the stages of language acquisition. So if you look at those numbers in red, our beginning and early intermediate students are the ones who, of course, will need the most support, who struggle the most with classroom work because of that language barrier. And we are currently at 60 of those 108 students in that level. And then levels 3, 4, and 5, the intermediate, early advanced, and advanced. Advanced, of course, are those monitor kids, but you can see a lot of our students, once they get to 3 and 4s, they get out. You know, they're ready to exit from that 3 and 4 stage. The 1s and 2s are the ones who need the most support.
Our mission and our goals are to provide a rigorous, relevant, and accelerated curriculum where we really want to challenge our students, make sure it's relating to their life, and we want to accelerate their English language acquisition so that they can understand their content classes as quickly as possible. Another big goal we have is to integrate our families and students into our school and our community. We're building really strong relationships. We offer a lot of support to our families. They call us often for resources or translation. And then we do family engagement activities. And then another goal we have is to ensure success in school and beyond for our students.
We're each going to take a little bit of the current program and just share about our own buildings. So I work with the high school students, and our program up there looks like Bulldog time every day. And we typically have this year we have all of the EL students in my classroom. So we're busting at the seams, but it's a great group. And we do a lot of homework support during that time. So we have students buddy up and have someone read test questions to each other so they can hear that aloud. We have myself and my para also helping accommodate work for students and just helping them keep caught up because that language load makes the work 10 times harder for them. And then right now, all of those kids, level 1 to level 4, come together for first block, and we work on the EL Achieve curriculum each day during that. And then our beginning level students, who are those 1s and 2s, also receive content support. So Miss Maria, our para, goes into their classrooms and she works on the skills with them. So she listens to the lessons, she helps support them, helps facilitate testing, she helps make sure that their work is organized and turned in so that she's ready to help them succeed. And she is a huge asset to that program.
And for Adams Middle School, so we have drive every single day, and this is a really good time where students do the homework, they get help. And for students that just arrived to the US, we also teach them the basics, such as letters, sounds, numbers. And then I have EL class, which I teach them English. And then throughout the day, Andrew Yanhans is a para over there, and like he goes and helps students in their other classes as well.
At Madison, my students come to me for about an hour of English language instruction, and then we also support them in some of their content area classes as well.
And for elementary, we pull groups every single day. We have 2 kinder groups, first and second, and then third and fourth. And this is the time where they come and they learn English with us. And it's usually 30 to 40 minutes every single day.
One thing sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One thing to mention about that she didn't share is that this year we implemented busing from every building. And so no matter what school they're in, we bus them from their home building to Jefferson, where our classrooms are located, to provide services. And one of the reasons we do that is because if we only have 1 or 2 students at Cody or 1 or 2 at Lake, oftentimes the students don't get those authentic conversations. So when we can put them together with 10 kids that are all learning at that level, they really have those great learning opportunities. And then push-in support is the last type of program that we offer. And basically that is just the parents have the option to refuse services for their students. They are still labeled EL, they still can receive accommodations and support. They just do not get the daily EL pull-out services that we offer at all of the buildings. And we have a few that do that, but a majority of them take advantage of the other programs we offer.
So this is just a few pictures of some of the learning tools we use. So there's a picture of a squirrel, and that's from my kindergarten classroom. So we're using a lot of pictures with a few words here and there. And then at the bottom, there's also sentence frames. So it says the squirrel has paws. So we're trying to build not only vocabulary with our students, but sentence structure as well. So, and then on the left, there is a picture of some sentence frames from a little bit older students. So it says there is dry grass in the grassland, but then underneath where we have a verb, there's other options for other verbs they could use in that sentence. And then under the nouns and adjectives, there's also other options of things that they could say. So again, we're getting them used to how a sentence is made and what you can do to change that sentence in different ways. And then the last picture at the bottom is from high school, and they are presenting an argument. So it says researchers believe that social media boosts self-esteem. So under researchers, you can see that there's other options of words they could use instead of researchers. Under believe, there's other words they could use, such as claim or show. And then that green section is showing 3 different options for them. And then after they have a topic sentence, then they can go into some sentences where they're explaining more. So that green little section on the sentences at the bottom is taking social media boosts self-esteem, and they're putting that into another sentence. So we use a lot of color coding also, and we can explain that one reason social media boosts self-esteem is because you can post selfies. So it's just showing kids how the English language works and the different possibilities for them when they're speaking and writing.
Some of the ways that we implemented family engagement was by hosting 2 family nights. So we hosted an elementary night and then a secondary night. We had a lot of families that came this year. It was a great success. Oh, did I read it right? Yes, yes. Let me talk about the first one. So in addition to teaching students, I also teach parents every Wednesday. So pretty much like adult education, English education. This has been my 3rd year doing this too. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Yep.
So I'd also like to talk about student learning. Okay, so our curriculum, when we're teaching English, we use a lot of real life language and application for our students. All of our lessons are aligned to state standards. And we have thematic, highly engaging units. So for example, one of our units is a virtual field trip where my students pretended to go to the beach. And we also have an ecology unit where we learned about different biomes like the tundra biome and the desert biome. One of our units is a literature study. So for example, my kindergartners learned about the 3 Little Pigs, and throughout the other grades, we learn about a lot of different literature. One of our most exciting things this year was going to the zoo. So because we studied ecology, right after we finished ecology, we took our students to the zoo. So we took 3rd through 6th together, and then we took a different trip with 7th through 12th graders. And it was very amazing, very engaging. It's a wonderful way for them to take their learning and just to see it right in front of them. And it's more tangible, and they're connecting their English to real things right in front of them. So it's really good.
One thing before I move on from that, when we were in the desert biome, students were pointing to the different plants and saying, that's an acacia tree and that's this one. And, so they are really able to apply the language that they learn and really accelerate that. So it was just really eye-opening to see the successes from that unit. Other student learning that we wanted to share was just some samples of accommodated classwork. So again, like I had said, we have several paras that go into the classrooms and support the students with their everyday other general classes. The one that you see in the picture there is a test that was from Culinary Essentials at the high school. And so this student that needed this accommodation is a level 1 student, recently arrived to the United States. And so for him to know all of that vocabulary with no visual, he would not have been successful with that. So instead of having 20 words, we broke it down to 5 or 6 words for him to choose from with a picture next to his vocabulary word and a word bank. So with that, the student was able to find success. And so he's willing to move forward and keep learning and keep gaining because he has that basic understanding with that support. And our paras do a great job of helping read those questions to the students and working side by side with them while they're doing that learning. In addition to that, we make sure that not only in their classrooms, but also in our room, that students get daily oral language practice. So they're talking, and my high schoolers just adore me for making them talk in front of everybody, but they do learn, and it really does support them. So I'll show a couple of videos of that tie into our EL Achieve. So this is actually Miss Marroquin's group that she's working with.
There are green plants in the jungle.
And you can tell the kids are highly engaged in that. You can tell they're all listening to each other. And that was an ecology unit that we had.
It was, yeah. And can I tell them about it? Yeah. She just came 2 months ago. Yeah. And she's one of my students. Yeah. Go. Yep.
It's cool. Today you should wear a coat.
So as you could see, not only was she using the vocabulary and the sentence frames, but she also
Gestures.
giving her the gestures, making sure she had that, and just coaching and supporting her with that. When our students go and talk to their friends, sometimes we will see them use those gestures again in their conversation as they become familiar with the language. And then just going back to that is just the idea that the curriculum that we use is really based on an acceleration model instead of remediation. So you'll hear even kinder and first grade students using very advanced vocabulary for their age. And we've even had some teachers say, like, I wish our first and second grade students, I wish our third grade students had these writing supports in our classrooms, because it really does set them up for success, and they are able to use that language in very portable ways, which sets them up for all of their content. And then just our shining star this year. So we had 90 students out of 108 that took the summative ELPA test this year. We got several new students in March and April, so they were not taking that. But 69% of our students made growth, with 15 of those students demonstrating proficiency. So we had a pretty good growth rate. 21 stayed the same. Of those students, some of them are parent refusals. Some of them have arrived partway through the year. So maybe they arrived at Christmas time and then they took the test in February. So not a lot of time for growth. And then some of them were special education students also. So we see some up and down there. And one had multiple behaviors. So just some different ways that can affect and impact that testing. And then this year, 8% of our students went down. So if we look at our next chart, this is our celebration slide, but the students worked really hard this year. And if you look from last year's growth to this year's, we've seen some huge successes. The first one is that our overall growth went up 10%. So our teachers, what they're doing in the curriculum we're using with fidelity is working for us. Our stayed the same percentage went up a little bit, but if you look at our went down percentage, that is a huge drop. So last year we had 23% of students go down, and this year only 8% did that. So huge success there. And then we also do it by gender. So we had boys that last year made 50% growth, and this year they were at 71. So big jump there. And then our 7th through 12th graders, I don't have the data from all of the past years, but I know in the past 2 or 3, we have struggled to get them to where they need to be as far as making growth. A lot of it is they're really resistant to wanting to talk. So their speaking is typically low. This year, Miss Marroquin, Mrs. Thomas, and I made sure every single day you're going to talk. And you can see the huge numbers of growth from them having that exposure to speaking every day. Do you have questions for us?
I have a question, and it's maybe partially you, partially a Dr. Rhodes question. But I was able to attend here a week or so ago a community conversation about preschool learning. And I know that language was a big topic of that conversation. Like, it came up over and over and over, making sure that we're identifying those needs in our preschoolers. And I wasn't sure if there had been any talk about providing EL services to preschool, or if there's a reason specifically that we start with kindergarten. So I was just curious. I don't know where the appropriate place to direct that question is, but.
Yeah, so do you mind if okay, so Rule 15 with the state of Nebraska says we have to provide services K-12 to students. Most districts in Nebraska do only K-12. And what I've heard from having conversations about that is because preschool, like public preschooling, is optional. You can do a private preschool instead, so they don't fund that. I know some of the smaller districts include that with their kindergartners, but I know most of the ones we work with do not.
Yeah, and I think we'll continue to really evaluate where we're at as a community. with young families at the preschool level. So, yeah, as Mrs. Sheets indicated, the process for EL is K-12 through the Department of Education. And, you know, in terms of assessment, I think that the ELPA only, does it only cover K? Yeah, so we'd have to figure out what that screener, what the assessment would look like as well. But it's certainly something that we're going to continue to keep our eyes open for in the future.
Yeah, our numbers are growing, so I'm sure,
Yes,
I'm
they
sure
are.
that will be a
Yes, they
big
are.
issue soon. Thank you.
So this is always one of my favorite presentations of the year because I think you guys do a great job and it's so interesting to learn all about this. So I've got a couple of questions. So of the 106 active students from this year, do you have a number that you think will move maybe to that monitor phase versus stay the same?
Yeah, so based on those results, we just got 15 of those 106 exited. So they're now monitors. And then we will test again next year, and those 18 students who didn't take the test for the variety of reasons, mostly move-ins, they will also take that test next year. So hopefully that number shrinks. We just tend to get a lot of new families in February and March at the end of that window, so we're not able to screen them.
And of these 25, or I think you said maybe it's up to 27 now, you'll screen them at the start of next year and decide if what area they're in? Is that how that works, or will they?
Yeah, so we do the ELPA screener, which is very similar to the summative, but it's shorter. It takes about an hour if they're close to proficiency and a lot less if they're newcomers to English. But based on those results, we can decide, first of all, are they EL or are they not? You know, are they native enough that they don't need supports? And then the other part of that is we can look at what supports they need. So if they're a level 1 student coming in with no expressive English, that we're going to make sure that they have daily pullout. We're going to make sure that they have a para with them throughout parts of their day to help facilitate that. And then part of my coordination role is also to work with the teachers to make sure that in their own classrooms, we have the supports, things that are labeled, making sure they have the menu that's a picture menu, so that they know what they're ordering for lunch, things like that.
And then as far as like the students themselves, when they're not working on the EL specific programming, do you see them, like, do they try to speak to each other in their native language, or are you able to encourage them to work on their English, kind of conversing with each other? How's that work?
You want to answer that through middle schoolers?
Oh, middle school. I'm not kidding, but every day I'll ask them, what class is this? And they're like, oh, English. Yeah, but I know that when they're in their other classes, they do try to speak in English, but when they're with me, most of them speak Spanish. So I had to remind them a lot, English, please. Yeah.
And then do you see like native speaking students who then are they helpful in classes are they working with these students to try to help them work on their English skills as well?
Yes.
I was just in a social studies classroom today, and we purposely put our students who are learning English with native English speakers as their partner, because it's so amazing how well they do. Our native speakers are helpful and caring and compassionate and like want to speak to them in English and want to help them do a project. And so it's really good to see.
Good. That's great to hear.
And our native, speakers that speak the same languages. So we have several from the Philippines. And if a student doesn't understand, another student, especially my high school group, will say, just do it this way and rattle it off in their home language. And so while we try and encourage all of the English as much as we can, and we expect that for academics, we teach it all in English to them. We know that there's a space for that, and they feel very comfortable to ask each other for support that way. And so a lot of times they will, especially like in Bulldog time doing homework support. Can you clarify this in Spanish? Can you make sure I'm understanding? And they do utilize each other as a resource, which is great too.
Good. Well, thank you guys for everything.
Thank you.
So a question I had is, in the secondary, do we have very many of these students that are going out for activities or extracurricular?
Yes,
The sports, okay.
track and basketball and volleyball. They do a lot of sports after school, yes.
Good. And are they finding barriers there, or are they feeling pretty comfortable?
I would say very comfortable. Yeah, I've been to their events a lot.
Good.
Yes.
My high school story is quite a bit different. We have a couple students who went out for soccer this year, but a lot of them, I do feel, first of all, we had 7 new come at the middle of the year. So they had missed signups for different activities that they were interested in. So I'm hoping just giving them that information ahead of time will help them, encourage them for next year, but also one thing I have for a goal for myself is to make sure that we go over the announcements. They hear them on the overhead, but a lot of times they miss a lot of that announcement stuff. So if I post an important, meeting for soccer after school, meeting for this after school, hopefully they will feel more comfortable going to those.
Or whenever they have parent meetings, it will be nice to have someone that speaks Spanish to translate for those parents. I know that was a concern from one of my parents. Or send information in Spanish too. Yeah.
That's really good information to have. Have you found most of your students are staying, or are we still having a lot of mobility with these students?
They're staying.
I-
Yeah. I think they're just waiting for the meat plant, to be honest. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yeah. Do
Okay.
we have a lot of EL support like in the after school program to help the kids out or just?
We do not. One of our paras, Andrew, actually works with Kids Club at Jefferson's, where a high population of our students are for elementary. So we do have support in that way for homework and things, but other than that, school, no. And that is a way we would like to grow, because when most of our students go home, their parents are saying, well, we can't read it to help them. We don't know how to help them and support them. So that would be a way that we can branch out and grow as time goes on.
And then just a thought, because I don't think we have it. Our Mrs. Foster, when she goes out, have you guys ever gotten into like getting our kids that are graduating out and not needing monitor or just needing monitored to maybe help in other industries as translating?
So we don't have like a program set up for that. But I actually spoke to a couple of the kids that are graduating and mentioned that to them. Not only, I mean, I put a plug in for EL in North Platte for sure, but in the classrooms also. I'm like, you guys have skill sets that are going to carry you in a lot of communities and a lot of industries. So just having that conversation with them, I think, was a good starting point for us to say, you have tools, use them for your future. So.
Right. Any other questions?
Thank
Well,
you so much.
Thank you for all
Thank
you
you.
do. Thank you very
All right, so we had graduation this past weekend. We'll have Mr. Spatansky come and share some things with us about graduation in our class of 2024.
Class of 2024, got everything wrapped up on Saturday. Great day, beautiful weather, phenomenal ceremony. A lot of people contributed to a really neat atmosphere. The video board in play that day. So just a lot of really neat new things going on. But I just wanted to share a few highlights with the senior class this year. And I'm going to stay away a little bit from the activity side of things. I mean, there's a lot of things that our students have done through our activities, but this year we had 286, and we're still counting. With our alternative education program, we're still helping kids get to the finish line, even though they might not have walked across the stage. So we had 286, 10 of which were junior alt ed graduates. This year's senior class at the beginning of the year started with 325 students, and we had some students that were dropped because of attendance issues or they'd moved and those sorts of things. But there was only 14 students that were with us that didn't meet academic requirements to graduate. And like I said, there's still opportunities for them to get finished up with their cohort here these last few days. So several are still really close. With our Edgenuity program, we did have several alternative education graduates. Like I mentioned, there was 46 now that have graduated through our alternative education program. All told this year, I think it was 737 classes have been finished on Edgenuity through our alternative education, credit recovery, and fifth block, as well as some of our parenting students that are out of the building doing their learning. But 65 students were midterm grads this year. And so 112 students all told finished up either through our midterm program or through our alternative education program. Now most years with scholarships, we have a lot more reported to us early with the way the FAFSA was designed this year. There was a rollout date of X and then it became X plus this month. So some of the schools didn't get FAFSA information back to us. So our number on paper looks smaller right now, but I'm sure that once we get all this tallied up, that we're going to have a similar type of outcome with scholarships. What we had recorded for senior awards tonight was 1.3 million, and then but at graduation day I was at 1.7 million already. So things are starting to come in. But when we ran the last report, Trace had indicated that only Chadron State had submitted their information to us. None of the major universities or colleges have put that information out, but we're hoping to have a little bit more information coming back from them. ACE scholarships, we had 72 applications filled out this year. 25 of those scholarships were awarded to our students, and that does cover the $138 course fee for classes at Mid-Plains Community College. On senior awards night, we had 121 of our senior class members recognized for various accomplishments. 16 of those students were 4.0 letter winner or 4.0 recognition students. 7 of those students were recognized as highest distinction. And then 1 student was recognized top 10% of the class for distinction. Now there's some requirements that are built into that for science, social studies, math, English, and foreign language that students have to hit as well to be recognized. With our Mid-Plains Community College partnership, we had 128 128 of our graduates have taken Mid-Plains Community courses during this school year. And 74 of those students completed 12 or more hours and qualified for then that Mid-Plains Community College scholarship, which basically provides them full tuition if they choose to go out there for their remaining education. And you met the one young lady tonight that was our associate degree winner in the senior class. But all told, 1,866 credits were earned by this senior class, which is outstanding. I did want to make note too that next year we'll have a slight increase in Mid-Plains. It will go from a $46 to a $50 increase. But yeah, some outstanding pieces there. And then our partnership with Mid-Plains, we have 18 classes that we're offering at the high school. And then on the Mid-Plains campus, there's some online options. And then we have a partnership with them for an 8 a.m. time slot. So there's 3 of those that are available kind of exclusively online, and then another 9 in the fall, and another 11 in the spring that students can take through the Mid-Plains campus. Then the final thing I'll just add in ACT accomplishments there. In the class of 2024, 273 kids had taken that ACT test. The composite was 17.2. The math portion of that was 17.1, science 17.7, STEM 17.6, English 15.6, reading 17.9, writing 15.4, and ELA 15.4. And I'll be excited to announce next year some of the changes that have occurred with that. But it was a great class. I mean, an awesome group of kids to work with. They have wings, they have roots. I think they're going to do some amazing things in their life. So just looking forward to seeing how things play out. But anyway, just want to give you a quick summary of some of the things that the senior class did before the proclamation later.
How many of our seniors graduated with their associates before crossing our stage?
Before what?
Before crossing their for their high school diploma?
This year we had 1.
Just the one?
Just the 1 student
Okay.
this year. Yep.
I don't know whose idea it was, but the Armed Forces Signing Day thing was really cool. I saw a lot of really positive comments about that. That was neat to recognize our students who are choosing to go on and serve the country. And so I appreciate that.
So I tell you, Mrs. Foster put a lot of work into organizing that event. And so, yeah, it was she reached out to all the branches and had folks that were there present and got their families together. It was really neat.
And I appreciated that they had the sashes, I guess, at graduation too. I thought that was a really nice addition. So.
Yeah, I tell you, there was 9 students that decided to go serve our country, and that's a really cool dedication to make with their life. So certainly wanted to bring honor to that. So.
And I thought it was neat, the addition of the video board this year. Yeah. That just for the whole school year, that has been really fun to see the things that the students are doing with that class. They're getting some really neat educational experiences, and it's a nice addition for everybody in the audience too, I think.
I'll tell you, on that graduation walk day, Mr. Willie had several kids that were part of the media production class, and Mrs. Kelly had several kids that were part of photography, and they were out on buses getting all that footage, and they put that together in just a matter of hours. And then Mr. Willie comes in one day and he's like, I think that we could pull this off. And so we went and kind of matched up with Mr. Mesner about how things would time out. And I think it was a really neat way of putting the board on display, but most importantly, our student work on that board. So.
And I have had a lot of good feedback about the graduation walk too, students and former teachers of the students. And it's always fun too on that day. You see just an explosion on social media of all of the teachers that are, posting pictures with their former students and just talking about how proud they are that they've reached that milestone.
Well, there's such a team that has put together the thoughts, and I know Mrs. Douglas was integral to that last year. There's a lot of collaboration with teaching and learning and transportation, and I mean, there's just so many people that have to go together to make that event take place. But it helps the kids bring good closure to their final few days at school. I mean, they get a chance to step back into buildings that they had been educated in before, see some faces, and share some tears with folks. And the first year that we did that, some of the kids were like, I don't really know if I want to do this. And then once they come back, just the sheer emotion that they had experienced from that, they're like, that's why. And so it was really neat to have that again this year too. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All you've done.
Okay, Stuart. Well, we're ready for our monthly financial and budget report.
Why do I always have to go back after the kids' presentation or EL? It's like, get the boring stuff over with and then get on to the exciting stuff.
But we want people to be awake. So,
I'll quickly point out a couple of items on the monthly financial report. First of all, I do follow strategy 3. This will be reviewed at the committee of the whole in May. So I have that in front of you on the board financial discussion. Second of all, every month, obviously, I give you a report in regards to where enrollment is, because it ties along with what we saw with EL, with Corey and everything else. So you can get an idea of where our trend of our K-12 students are heading each and every month. We'll have one more final report at the end of May with a final report for where we'll stand. And I'll comment a little bit more about what we use the final enrollment report for. If I go to page 6, this just really gives you a quick snapshot of our budget. We should be at 66.3% of our budget expended. Obviously, in some areas such as our grants, they're getting close because that's salary and salary related benefits. From there, we only have 4 months left of those, so that's why they're a little bit higher in comparison to our regular budget or our special ed budget, because obviously we have supplies and other costs built in that will be coming out. One item I do want to point out on our cooperative or our QC Puff fund, we did pay our payment for our interest on our bonds that we have. We have 2 more bonds left coming up in December, and then the conclusion of that afterwards. So we should be getting close as far as our bond payments in QC Puff. Otherwise, you can take a look at all the other items. We'll go over those when we go through the budget workshop. I just want to let you know, as we look at the cash flow, which is on page 10, obviously we're on the same trajectory that we were in the past 4 years, but we did receive our tax statement or our tax payment for the month of April here, and we received $12 million, which will then pull us back out and redirect us back up to where you can see over the past 4 years where we have been. So we'll have an update come the end of May in regards to where our cash flow will be. Finally, I want to point out on my revenue graph, hang on, I'll get down to there. You can see sort of the comparison of where our property taxes are in comparison to state aid over the past 5 years. Other local revenue, state sources, and state sources are up because of the increase in support for special education. And then we're working at getting our grants up. We did finally get our first payment for this year's grant. We got other ones concluded. And we're starting to see our special ed ESSA grants starting to come in, so we can turn around and hopefully see an increase in our grant revenue coming in.
Can we talk about the grant that we just got to help with Jefferson?
Oh, yes, yes, we were very good to submit a school safety grant. We were trying for various safety and security items. One is at Jefferson, one is at the high school, and then a myriad of cameras and everything else across the district. We were awarded $100,000 that will go toward the elementary access, which is at Jefferson. So we're working at getting a new secure access coming into that building on the south side of Jefferson. But we were able to secure that, which I'm excited about, so that we can get that completed. We're pleased that the state put out $10 million worth of grants. They had 40 million into the state, so it knows that there's a lot more safety and security that has to go along out in the state as we address issues across all school districts. So, and then finally, really, and I'll stop sharing because this is, if you take a look at your monthly financial report and want to go to sleep by it, you can take a look at your FFA and how much money they have in there. So when they were talking tonight, I was taking a look at that, and that'll give you a good idea of where we.
All right, any questions for Stuart? Okay, we will move on to the public comment portion of our meeting. Public questions and comments may take place at this time in the agenda. Individuals who want to address the board must complete a guidelines for public comments form with the date, topic addressing, name, address, and the name of any organization you represent, and give it to the board clerk prior to the meeting. Sheila, do we have any?
Yes, I have one, Lana Klein.
All right. So when called upon by the presiding officer, the individual shall proceed to the table and state their name and address. An individual may not exceed 5 minutes, and the total time for all individuals who want to speak shall not exceed 30 minutes unless a majority vote of the board approves extending the allocated time. This time for public comment shall not be used to address specific individual student discipline or employee performance issues. Complaint and grievance processes are in place to deal with issues of this nature. And Mrs. Klein.
Thank you, Chair. Lana Klein. I just wanted to hopefully remind everybody as we're going into property taxes and all of that to please remember that how expensive they are, and they're about 2/3 of our property taxes go to public schools. So please remember that on your budget this year before we get the pink card.
All right, thank you. Okay, and we will now move on to our action items. The first item is a graduation proclamation, and this was an idea that was brought to us by Dr. Rhodes. And maybe I'll let him share just a little bit about his thoughts behind this.
Yeah, this is certainly not anything that's required of a Board of Education in the state of Nebraska. I guess I don't know about other states, but something that I had done in some other districts I had been at, and I think just a nice gesture and kind of a final commendation to the graduating class of 2024.
So I guess I can read the proclamation. It says North Platte Public School Board Proclamation honoring the graduating class of 2024. Whereas the North Platte School Board recognized the immense dedication, perseverance, and achievements of the graduating class of 2024. Whereas these graduates have demonstrated exceptional academic excellence, leadership, and community involvement throughout their educational journey. Whereas the graduating class of 2024 has exhibited resilience and adaptability in the face of unprecedented challenges, showing remarkable strength of character and determination. Whereas the educators, administrators, staff, families, and community members have provided unwavering support, guidance, and encouragement to nurture the growth and success of these graduates. Whereas the graduating class of 2024 embodies the values of scholarship, integrity, and compassion, serving as role models for future generations. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the North Platte School Board that we extend our heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to the graduating class of 2024. We commend you for your accomplishments, celebrate your potential, and look forward with great anticipation to the positive impact you will make in your future endeavors. And it shall be, if adopted, signed on this 13th day of May, 2024. So I would entertain any discussion.
I think it's a great idea. Yes, I don't know why we haven't done it before. So I do think it's a great idea.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the 2024 graduation proclamation.
Second.
And roll call?
Skip Baltic,
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Joanne Lingreen.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
And it passes. And now we will move on to the addendum for the Sodexo RFP. So the first thing that I will point out is that we have a summary. And on the summary document, you will find what we are currently charging for lunch, breakfast, at, I guess, and just to be clear, breakfast, even though we do have a charged price for it, that is something that is currently free to all students. But I'll have Stuart explain a little bit more about that here in a little bit. Because I'm going to ask him to explain to us our options. We have an option number 1 for breakfast, middle school, and then we have options 1, 2, and 3 for lunch, as far as looking at changing our prices for next year. A note on that, we have not raised our lunch prices, or I guess any of our prices, for the last 5 years. And so in light of the fact that there have been increases in food and other things, then it's something that I think it's really timely for us to discuss. And we do receive some money from the state. And then Stuart, would you just share with us a little bit on what the reimbursement would be and how we come to that number for each of the options?
Yep. Hang on. Getting myself, do you want to share, do you want me to share my screen?
Would you please?
Okay. Getting it there. I'm getting it. Be patient. So what I tried to do is put together. Oh, you see my calendar. Sorry.
I'm sure you're busy.
Let me get it there. Here we go. All right. Trying to share the right one. I'm sorry. What I tried to do is put together a little bit of comparison as we got our RFP. And part of the process on the RFP is getting some clarification on a few questions so that we can make sure moving into the new school year, all items are met within the RFP. But first and foremost, we wanted to look at what the fixed price guarantee would be for Sodexo and how much they were increasing. And what you can see is that for the most part on a student lunch, a student a la carte, a meal plan A, which is similar to a student lunch or vending, it's only increasing by 2.18%.
And that's the price that Sodexo charges us, correct?
Sodexo charges us correctly. From there, when you go down further, you can see on a paid food price plan, currently for our high school lunch, our students are paying $2.65. Our elementary lunch is paying $2.40. And then elementary breakfast or middle school breakfast, it's between $1 and $1.25. And that was a good point that you made in regards to that, Joanne. So as we move further into discussing what we need to do from a board standpoint, besides approving the addendum, is to adopt what you want to move forward as far as either option 1, 2, or 3 for a price guarantee. Price guarantee meaning that no matter what, bottom line, we're going to put either 90,000, 105,000, or 121,000 back into reserves for next year. With that, Sodexo had recommended either 90,000 and don't increase, or option 2 was if we go to the fixed price meal equity tool, we would have to increase our student prices for lunch next year by 10 cents. Or if we wanted to increase to option 3, 20 cents. Now, Joanne made a good point in regards to the price equity tool. We have not had to use it since COVID came into play because we were receiving the maximum free rate for all students eating in the district, which increased our reserves. So therefore, we were able to sustain ourselves for the past 3 or 4 years. But moving into next year, the guarantee in the past was 183,000. Now we're going to be obviously decreasing, and the state's now going to be pushing us to go to the price equity tool to increase our prices. And what the price equity tool does is says that you need to, when you look at the state reimbursement, if your paid lunch is at 42 cents given by the state and our free lunch is $4.27, we should charge our paid students about $3.85. Well, we're only charging $2.65, but they want you to increase it every year proportionally to get up to that $3.85 or whatever the number would be, because they're going to increase those reimbursements next year. So with that, the board has to have a discussion of where they want to be as far as option 1, 2, or 3 moving forward. Now, I did look at where we are this year in regards to our community eligibility program, because we received free reimbursement for Cody, Eisenhower, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Washington. And we did have a statement being made that, well, what if we move to total CEP in the district? And financially, we cannot move in that direction right now. We're committed to those 5 schools, but other than that, moving forward, financially, we cannot move in that direction. So that was just something for information only for the board at this point in time. So going back up, it's really looking at the 3 different options, going to the price equity tool and increasing by 10 cents. And that the state says the minimum is 10 cents. If you want to go higher, then you can go higher, but it's always a minimum of increasing 10 cents each year just to get up to that maximum amount that you need to be in comparison to a free meal.
So if we don't increase to the 385, if we don't eventually get there, is there reduced funding from the state, or what are some of the things that happen if we don't, other than we get a lower guarantee?
There is no penalty to a school district. It's just that we have to document, why we're not, if we don't take the 10 cents, why didn't we? For example, in the past 2 years, we said, well, we have reserves carried over from COVID, plus we were receiving 183,000 from Sodexo. So we were putting money in the bank. Now, obviously, the guarantee has decreased, which then puts a little bit more pressure on the school district as far as, how much guarantee do we want to do, and where do we want to at least put that money into the bank at this point in time. And this money, I will tell you, no matter what, covers half of a para at our 7 elementaries to help support collecting the revenue that we have, monitoring all the students that eat, as well as reporting back to us in regards to the number of students that are eating, not only at lunch, but breakfast and a snack each and every day.
So can you explain to me again with these options? Are you saying that if we do option 3, that you said 121,000 will go back into our reserves?
Correct.
Is that
our school nutrition fund
reserve? That would be increasing that student lunch price by 20 cents.
Right.
Okay.
So if you look down at the table here that I have on the screen, if you choose option 3, we would then be charging for a high school lunch $285 for a paid price, $260 at the elementary lunch. And then, like we said, at breakfast, because we provide free breakfast across the district, we would reset that at $1.90 that the district would have to then reimburse the school nutrition program.
Do you have a recommendation from the financial side of things?
I would say option 2, because you always want to increase by at least 10 cents. 20 cents would be pushing it, not from the standpoint of anything other than our families. You need to increase it little by little over the next year. So next year at this point in time, we'll be coming back to you as we do the price equity tool and discuss where we are and where we should be moving forward each and every year. And then also where Sodexo will be in providing a guarantee moving forward after this year. Because if you remember, this is a 1-year guarantee, and then we have 4 more years within the RFP that we can, number one, increase, as well as what their guarantee is and what they're going to as far as their financial obligation is, as you see up above.
I think it'd be prudent to, if you're going to increase, to do it incrementally over the next 4, 5, 10 years. The whole equity tool was put in place by Food and Nutrition to keep districts' lunch balances and utilizing your general fund to subsidize that fund from going into the red. And that's the reason they devised the tool, so that school districts can put in that information in the tool, and it gives you good information back on where your prices need to be. But you don't want to get into a situation where you haven't raised prices and then you get 4 or 5 years down the road and then you absolutely have to increase by 35 to 40 cents. And that's happened in districts. So I would agree with Mr. Simpson. I think what you need to think about logically is just incrementally every year. And we'll use the tool every year to see where we're at and see where the guarantee is going to be at annually in terms of our contract with Sodexo as well.
So I need this in more elementary terms. Right now, a parent has a high school student. They don't have to pay for breakfast,
Correct.
but they do pay for lunch, and they're paying $265 a day.
Correct.
Okay. And you're saying you want them to go to $275.
Correct.
So 50 cents a week.
Right. And we're probably one of the lower school districts in the state of Nebraska. Talking with the State Department, we were, if you compare us to McCook, or Dr. Rhodes can comment about Gothenburg, we're at least, trying to think, but at 50 cents less than where some of the other districts are.
I'm just trying for somebody watching that doesn't maybe pay for lunch, or that's now going to have to, and they're looking at these numbers. You don't have to pay the 190 or the 125, but then the lunch prices you would pay. So, thinking about what that is budget wise, and we're saying 50 cents a week. That's $2 a month.
Correct.
That's not breaking the bank.
Correct.
Looking at it that way.
Correct.
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable, the 10 cents. I really do. And considering that we haven't raised it over a period of time for a variety of reasons, that was the case, but this isn't, as Angela said, you know, it's a raise, but it's not going to be a stinging thing, like we've raised it 70 cents or something. So I think option 2 is by far the best choice.
I like that idea, but I also like to say that we want to leave that option to raise another 10 cents next year so that parents are just thinking about it. Because it's not a huge sting, but just so that when they're budgeting for following years, it is something that we do need to do, especially if we're lower on the totem pole.
Well, and like I said, next year when I come back, because every year we're required to report to the state, number one, how much Sodexo is increasing their reimbursement rates. And then second of all, how much that guarantee will be. And then from there, we will have to look at the price equity tool and bring that information back to the board. So a combination of 3 different items will be approved by the board. If anything, looked at the committee of the whole and then turn around and talked about at the board level so that we can make those incremental changes moving forward.
Well, and we're also still trying to increase our number of families that are applying for that free and reduced lunch, right? Because we had that period of time where families just weren't doing that because they didn't have to. And so,
right.
I mean, we're still going to have the support in place for our vulnerable families that need that assistance.
Right.
And so, so I think this seems like a good kind of middle ground there.
And it's sort of everything touches everything. And so, getting families to number one, reapply to free and reduced if they need to, because that does affect our poverty program. And so that helps there. And in that, our principals have done a very great job in regards to educating our parents about getting those in, because that does help us, number one, from our nutrition program, but also helps us in our poverty program also if they need that support.
So do we need the motion to be the approval of the addendum with a specific option? Is that, or are these 2 separate items we're doing?
No, I think you'll need it with the option. But I need to point out just a couple of other things before we move into a motion. So Sodexo was asked to provide, or we were asked to provide some more information. One of those is the state requests a detailed staffing plan for each building. And so that's something that's part of this updated RFP. And then we also are changing, there is a notice of termination. And in the one that we had approved before, it was a 30-day notice. And they have asked that we increase that to a 90-day notice if we terminate our contract with them. And then there was a part about special functions and catering, that be charged to the individual groups or the district, whoever's requesting those special events and catering at their events. And then we also had a part where we needed to clarify the consequential damages. That's a lot to say. So, so you would find that as part of the RFP. And is there anything else, Stuart, that I did not point out?
I did put this on a view only for the board because they did have some phone numbers in there of some people for Sodexo, and I wanted to honor their privacy in regards to that. So I did want to let you know that.
Okay.
Just circling back to our 3 options, and mostly just so that this is out there for the public to kind of understand on the guarantee. So if as a board, we go with option 2 and there's the $105,000 guarantee, I think we all understand what that means, but just so that everybody watching understands, that $105,000 goes back into our nutritional funds, correct? But that potentially saves us from having to move money from general funds to cover deficits there.
Yes, I can speak very clearly that most districts do subsidize their food and nutrition fund with general fund dollars. It's just it's one of the things we transfer at the end of the year. So the guaranteed money is pretty important.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think I think a lot of us have expressed option two maybe being that prudent option. And I also, I think that's where I'm currently at with it. We heard from someone tonight who's concerned about property taxes. And I think that's a common theme that I get emails and phone calls and people stopping me in the grocery store to talk about that issue. And I think that's one that we've had a lot of conversations about. And so just keeping those things in the back of our mind, this is a way to maybe take away possibly some of that burden that would need to be covered in that capacity and eventually transferred over to cover nutritional needs. So I do think that this is probably a necessary step that we need to take. And at 50 cents a week, hopefully that's not a huge burden on too many people. Or if it is, maybe they would apply for free and reduced lunches. So,
Well, and we all see our grocery bills going up right now. So, I mean, to feed our children, 50
Right.
cents a week isn't horrible, as horrible as the grocery store.
Well, and it seems like compared to eating out, for example,
Mhm.
that the prices that we're charging are really reasonable. So
I
So-
would make a move to approve the addendum to the RFP with option 2.
I second.
is there any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Angela Blazy.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrick.
I
Joanne Green.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Skip Alford.
Aye.
And that passes with option 2 as the option that we're choosing to go with. So future board calendar. We have Mr. Altig and Dr. Rhodes on Mugs in the Morning tomorrow morning. Committee of the Whole, the end of the month. And I think, Matt, you had said
I'll be gone.
you'll be gone, and Angela possibly. Will you be there, or were you going to be gone?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
So we'll still,
Sorry.
at the moment, we'll still have a quorum, so. And then there is the leadership workshop coming up. I think that one, at least on NASB website, was limited right now to just board chairs and vice chairs and superintendents. The Leader in Law Conference is coming up, board candidate workshops. The one nearest to us will be on July 9th in Ogallala, and that is open to anyone. There is no charge other than getting yourself there. And then we will be participating in the mobile food pantry on July 9th. And then the other things are coming down the road. So I guess that is it for now. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Emily Garrick.
Aye.
Joanne Green.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Skip Altig.
Aye.
Angela Blazy.
Aye.